That could go really good with her subclass that does double dot damage. Might try it out. Serrated Greatsword. I'll try that out. Okay. I really like the Adeptus Mechanicus. They're one of my favorite factions in 40k. Just like they're just because they're so logical. I often find myself agreeing with whatever they decide. Not always, but often. Alright. So now we can go down to the planet, which is technically the capital of all our planets, but they've never met me before. Let's see. How do we want to do this? I might have to make multiple trips. Because, like, there's a lot of people on my team that want to visit the planet for various reasons. Alright, let's start with this. And we'll come back with the others if needed. Ooh, movie. There's a lot of people. Long live the Rogue Trader! Greetings, your lordship! I still love the idea that everyone recognizes the blood spinners, and I'm just walking around with one next to me. That, like, for them, that's just like, oh, he has an assassin ready to go. I finished my lunch. Quick drink of water. Okay. Clementia Wersarian. The Emperor protects. Welcome home, your lordship. The stately woman in a long, full dress uniform makes a graceful curtsy. Her short, graying hair does not obscure her stern features. I am Clementia Wersarian, Court Chancellor of the Von Valancius dynasty. On behalf of all Dargonis, please accept my deepest condolences for the untimely passing of Theodora von Valancius. Her departure is a terrible blow to us all, but as one star expires, another always flares to life. And although still overcome with bitterness and grief, your subjects hope that you will become the Trade Dynasty's guiding light in these trying times. The young man quickly... Oh, he's got a picture. The young man quickly brings a respirator to his burnt face and bows his head courteously. His raven black hair veils his burns and skull implants, and his thin metal fingers creak quietly as he offers a welcoming gesture. Achilles Scalander, Secretary of the Administratum Department, I hope the journey to Dargonis was not darkened by unwanted troubles. I don't think this guy had a portrait last time I played. What'd you have for lunch today? Leftover Mathis Madness, which is a family thing. It's mixed up ground beef, tomato sauce, egg noodles, cheese, peas, corn. Yeah. I think that's everything. It's very tasty. It's my grandma's grandma used to say it's how you can make a pound of ground beef feed 8 people. And it's been kind of like a recipe in the family for a long time. The Emperor protected us on our journey through the stars. Achilles makes the sign of the Aquila, and may he remain merciful to us till the end of time. Does your lordship wish to survey the grounds, or perhaps we could sate your curiosity by answering any questions you might have? Governor Urban Drivestem has been notified of your arrival on Dargonis and will visit the palace shortly. The preparations for the official visit are well in hand, but your lordship still has plenty of time before the meeting. Hold on, Clementia. What did you say your last name was? She nods politely. You heard correctly, your lordship. I am of House Wersarian, Lord Abelard's granddaughter and direct descendant. The succession of service is an effective good. It grants new generations understanding of their function within the mechanism. Why isn't the governor here with you to meet me? Apologies, your lordship. Governor Drivesim's residence is on the other side of the world, by the Administratum Palace of Dargonis. We sent word as soon as you entered the system, but it takes time to travel the great distances of your domain. Logic test succeeded. Chancellor Wersarian appears unruffled, but you cannot shake the thought that the governor's lateness is a subtle political gesture designed to test the limits of what is acceptable when it comes to interacting with the new rogue trader. I would like to rest before the meeting. Where are my chambers? They are very close, just down the hall. That is also where the study and the audience chamber are. Achilles' face brightens with a pearly white smile, restoring some of his former good looks. Lady Theodora's study has remained locked since her last departure, but on account of your arrival, we've arranged for it to be tidied up. It is ready whenever you may need it. You are dismissed. I apologize for my bluntness, but I have a request to make. Perhaps before the meeting takes place, the illustrious Lord Captain could spare a few minutes for a conversation with me. Achilles bows his head. I am certain you will find my report on the state of affairs in the Von Valancius Protectorate most useful. Did you ever do StarCraft 2? I think I saw you on a major event. StarCraft 2? I have played StarCraft 2 quite a bit in the past, but never as a streamer. So I don't think you ever saw me in any StarCraft 2 events. It must have been someone else with a similar name. Goods. Toss a coin. Glinting in the light, the coin falls into the clear water and sinks to the bottom. Demolition? Just blast it open. Yeah, because right now, it's basically just me. It doesn't have my whole team with me. So I have to do all these skill checks myself. Oh, okay, you do have quick APM hands. Depends on the activity. Typing, I'm like 120, 130 words per minute. But depends on what we're doing. I'm good at some games. Welcome, your lordship. Let me inform you of the location of the chambers of your dynastic estate. Dynastic. The main throne room is up the stairs and straight ahead. Your subject, Achilles Scalander, informed me that he humbly awaits the opportunity to meet with you there. If your lordship wishes to rest after your long journey, your personal chambers are up the stairs and to the right. Muck was a BlizzCon at Announcer 2012. I was not. Maybe another one was. If you need anything, whatever your soul desires, I'll be right next to your chambers, eagerly awaiting your orders. Okay. Your lordship. Greetings, your lordship. Breeze Catcher Boots. When the wearer moves through a cell occupied by an enemy, the wearer gains 15% more dodge against that enemy's attacks till the end of the turn. The leather covers bear the names of the authors, mostly philosophers and theologians from Dargonis. The spines of the books are trimmed with gold. The cogitator is producing rhythmic sounds, among which a faint ringing stands out. The remains of a plaque can be seen on the frame. Alas, the inscription is completely indistinguishable due to the patina? Patina? The antique piece of furniture is obviously well cared for, but its surface is still covered with a lot of scruffs, scratches, and stains. Traces of the previous rogue traders who sat at this table. A sturdy safe equipped with several bizarre mechanisms. Just blast it open. Multi-melta. Requires melta weapon proficiency. Unlocked. My little dudes. Oh god, a multi-melta for when you want something gone and then gone again. Gone and cleaned up after itself. Oh look! There's a charging bed for cat dog. The bed for the head of the Rogue Trader dynasty is befitting the status of its owner. Oh yeah, there was a secret room there. I don't remember how to access it. That might be later. According to the inscription on the statue, this is a gift from House Gaprock to the Von Valancius dynasty. Let's see. So Solomorn is here. Even though I didn't bring him off the ship, he is here. Rogue Trader, the Marshal is ready to meet with you. Do you wish to commence the audience? I would prefer to first know exactly what it is that the head of the Adeptus Arbites in the Expanse wants to see me about. I do not know the details, but I would assume the procedure is the same as it was in Lady Theodora's time. A personal introduction, a reaffirming of allyship between the dynasty and the Adeptus Arbites, and a discussion of tithe-related affairs. Yes, I am ready to discuss our business. That is a lot of Arbites. They got like a floating skull book thing. Marshal Gregorus Straux. Yo, look at this guy. Two markedly distinct figures approach your throne. Marching in front is a man clad in Adeptus Arbites armor. He carries his helmet in the crook of his arm, but his stern facade serves him as well as any visor could. He bows to you sharply. Marshal Straux of the Adeptus Arbites. Gained XP? An old woman walks in the Marshal's shadow, her body fitted with dozens of scribing implants and magnifying instruments. If not for her eyes, quick and inquisitive behind a giant pair of ocular lenses, you might have mistaken her for an exotic servitor. Her robes are adorned with sacred symbols of the Adeptus Administratum. It's like an old woman, just like, me. The woman bows. Rogue Trader Mukluk von Valancius. I, Prefect Inscribia Volter, greet you on behalf of the Adeptus Administratum. I will now begin the due procedure of official address to the ruler of Dargonis as formalized by Amendment 4N10 to Law SK 941. May your name be wreathed in glory for centuries to come. May your fortunes ever proliferate. May the God Emperor bestow upon you a duty worthy of his chosen. Her monotonous droning is making you weary. It seems she intends to go on for a good while longer. Get comfortable and listen to the end. The Prefect resumes her elaborate formula. You notice a few poorly concealed yawns and frenzied blinking among the crowd. The speech drags on for another 5 minutes, but you pass this test of fortitude honorably. At last, the Prefect's address comes to an end. I do not recall seeing you at court. What are you doing in my domain? The Marshal leans forward, his voice is low, and when he speaks, it feels as though the marble tiles of the palace had begun to vibrate. The Adeptus Administratum delegation, accompanied by the Adeptus Arbites, has arrived to greet Lady Theodora's successor and to see to the extension of our decades-long arrangement. I misspoke. If I may continue for you, the Prefect steps forward, dragging her feet slightly. As per the decree of Theodora von Valancius, ORD 0373N, the representatives of the Adeptus Administratum and the Adeptus Arbites are sanctioned to use the Palace of Justice, oversee tithe collection in the Protectorate, and review any and all cases of tithe avoidance, tithe exceedance, and other irregularities. These rights have been formalized in numerous pacts and statutes under the main decree. Considering your new position, you may have yet to acquaint yourself with all these documents. You are the successor to Lady Theodora, whose alliance with our two sacred organizations forever glorified her as a rogue trader closely tied to the executors of Holy Terra's will. And we, as representatives of the Adeptus Administratum and the Adeptus Arbites, must verify that you are able to maintain this alliance that has brought with repute to your dynasty. The prefect scrutinizes you as if trying to estimate your proportions and weight. That is why we have arrived in person, as the present circumstances have provided us a chance to see if your intentions concord with those of the late von Valancius. And what circumstances are those? The prefect's lips contort into a twist. Our work has been disrupted by unforeseen setbacks regarding communication and transportation. As our requisitioned assets were not adequately prepared, we have lost some of our personnel and our resources as a result. The arbitrators are too short-handed to perform all the duties expected of them. Since they first arrived in the Expanse, their numbers, limited from the outset, have only continued to dwindle. After analyzing the situation in accordance with Amendment FS89324 to Decree ORD 0373N, we have decided to notify you of a tithe violation committed by one of the worlds in the region. This regrettable lapse must be rectified as quickly as possible. The old woman shivers and rubs her augmented hands together with an unnerving crack. In which world was it that had the misfortune of drawing your attention? Thessera, a feudal world far from the main routes that was bereft of the Imperium's light, then rediscovered less than 2 centuries ago. It supplies agricultural resources and manpower. I will carry forth the responsibilities taken on by Lady Theodora. I offer you my help. An arbitrator will be assigned to you for increased security. Proctor Anthar, front and center. The marshal's voice thunders over the arbitrator's ranks, and Solomorn Anthar, I knew him as Solomorn, I didn't know Anthar was his last name, marches over to your throne, his cyber mastiff at his heel. Fine, I'll try not to lose your dog. Thank you for your support. I will go to Thessera as soon as I can. The Emperor protects. The Marshal makes the sign of the Aquila, an emotion so sharp you could practically hear it cutting the air. I'm trying to remember the sign of the Aquila. I think it's because the Aquila is like an eagle, and I think they do like this or like this. So I'm imagining he's just like, wah! The prefect adjusts her ocular lenses with a weary sigh, and once again, no specifics given, of course. And my reports. Nobody ever stops to think. She quickly catches herself and offers you a bow. Okay. So that's more of the Arbites DLC, the newest one. Alright, Clement Rosarian. Alright, we got a lot of other little things to do in here. So let's talk to Solomor again, see what he says. You wouldn't believe the kind of poisons Glado has detected in your various nobles' possessions. Fortunately, they've made no attempts... Hold on a sec. They've made no attempts on your life, so I limited myself to sending them a simple message. They may squabble as much as they like, but the moment it puts the Protectorate at risk, they will feel the hand of justice bearing down on them. Goods. Tech use? Nice. Alright, where was the one guy that asked us to talk with him in here? I haven't found him. Abelard. Wasn't Wersarian, wasn't Adira. Ah, there he is, Scalander. The slender figure, clad in robes made from expensive fabric, shudders from violent coughing. Pressing a gilded respirator to his face, the man takes several deep breaths. Achilles, it's been many moons. I hope your cousin is feeling well. Achilles covers his burnt lips, trying and failing to suppress a coughing fit. She is in good health. She sends her regards to you as well as her wishes for your swift return. Heinrichs frowns. For as long as the stars shine in the sky, my vigil continues. So it does. Achilles thumps himself on the chest with his augmented hand. You hear the clanging of metal against metal. Logic succeeded. I'm not so foolish as to fail to notice a conversation in code. Your insight deserves credit, Rogue Trader. Then again, I expected nothing less from Theodora von Valancius' successor. Heinrichs looks at Achilles. Allow me to introduce Achilles Scalander properly. In addition to his duties as Secretary of the Administratum, he acts as an agent of the Golden Throne under my aegis. Master Scalander was transferred into my remit by a colleague who is engaged in other matters in the Coronis Expanse. I'm sure you will find Achilles' service useful, especially when dealing with the schemes of humanity's foes within the borders of your protectorate. Greetings, Lord Mukluk von Valancius. Allow me once again to express my deepest condolences for the loss of Lady Theodora. I will do everything I can to track down and destroy all of Kunrad Voigtvir's accomplices on the capital world. Do you know anything about what has happened of Kunrad Voigtvir? The former Master of Whispers is a heretic and a traitor to the dynasty. Achilles nods grimly. Word of his treason reached Argonis too late. Kunrad came to the planet and left it almost immediately once he had sown discord in the minds of the gullible and naive. The worst of the rumors he started was that you were the one responsible for Lady Theodora's sudden demise. Of course, your loyal subjects did their best to skin alive any who showed signs of doubt, but it seems unlikely that the wardens got to everyone who has allowed doubt into their heart and now nurtures it in secret. You promised me a report on the present state of affairs in the Protectorate. I have already forwarded all official reports to your Seneschal. As for the conversation we're having right now, I wouldn't trust any paper or data slate with its contents. You see, Lady Theodora, may the Emperor have mercy on her soul, was perfectly aware of Dargonis' political environment. You, however, have only just arrived on the capital world, and I thought it would be best to bring you up to speed. Frankly, the nobles of Dargonis, much like nobles on most worlds, are akin to spiders in a jar, ready to pounce on whoever is the weakest or whomever they deem to be the weakest. The nobles of Dargonis are well-respected, rich, and powerful individuals who held Lady Theodora's favor for many years and found ways to rise above the rest by diligently serving the rogue trader. Every family pursues its own selfish interests, and each one expects that with the transition of power, they will retain and even add to their lands and wealth. The families I would recommend giving particular attention to are the Drivestems, the Capraks, and the Sarbaks. I should also mention the Rosarians, not a noble house per se, but a family that was part of Lady Theodora's inner circle, to the Blue Blood's great displeasure. Tell me about the Drivestems. The Drivestems are the ancient governor house of Dargonis. Predictably, the greater the wealth of the Von Valancius Protectorate, the fuller their coffers grow. Their reputation is flawless except for one detail. We have evidence that urban Drivestems rivals seem to have the misfortune of regularly falling victim to Xenos raids. I find that these attacks are always a little too advantageous for the Drivestems, but we lack solid proof and it might never surface. The closer an official is to a rogue trader, the braver and safer they feel. I would just like to remind everyone that rubbing shoulders with Xenos is a heresy and can be overlooked only in the case of the Von Valancius heir, not his servant. What makes the Capraks special? The Capraks hail from a remote forge world, and among their distant relatives there are many servants of the Omnissiah, and the house itself is close to the cult of the Adeptus Mechanicus, both in spirit and in their business connections. The Capraks oversaw the industrial shipments within your protectorate until recently. Ever since the astropathic communication with Kiava Gamma was severed, they've been quite concerned about the security of the planet placed in their care. What can you tell me about House Sarbak? Mitron says, hey Muck, just dropping by to ask if you've seen the Borderlands 4 Siren teasers. She's described as Siren with Necromancer Ranger Fantasy. I think I may have, and I didn't realize it was the Siren. I remember seeing a trailer for Borderlands 4, and there was a character that had a big purple pet cat. I'm guessing that's them. Religious and hardworking, the Sarbaks own many enterprises, including distillation manufactorums that produce promethium. I must note that lately, members of the Sarbak family have been prone to overly liberal statements about the Von Valancius dynasty. They believe that Lady Theodora was a bit too keen to leave her worlds without proper oversight. I wish to know more about the Rosarians. The Rosarians are a line founded by Lady Theodora's seneschal, and as such are nominally considered nobility, at least from the standpoint of the Imperial Navy, from which Lord Abelard hails. On Dargonis, however, their position is precarious. Firstly, they never were granted an official title, a process which has been impeded for decades by the old houses of Dargonis. And secondly, the other families do not see them as equals, but more as upstarts clinging to the rogue trader's favor. The Rosarians are responsible for the capital world's fleet and the majority of the cargo shipments on domestic routes. Enough about the nobles. Was there anything else you wanted to report? There was, your lordship, and this time it concerns the main reason for my presence on this planet, Xenos and the threat they pose both to you and humanity as a whole. The last few months have been difficult for the people who report to me, my eyes and ears scattered throughout the Coronis Expanse. Warp disturbances, astropaths overcome with madness, ships disappearing in the Immaterium. Many of my observers and contacts have gone dark or have been killed by some calamity or other. Still, I managed to establish communication with some key individuals who were able to warn me about incoming threats, including Xenos raids. Achilles looks you in the eye without blinking. It is within my power to supply you with intelligence on where and when the Xenos will strike next. I do not doubt that Governor Drivestem will beg for your protection against the Xenos, and in this fight, the information from my contacts will serve you well. I beseech you, Mukluk, if I ever report a threat looming over a ship or a planet, do not dismiss it. Sometimes it takes an intervention from the rogue trader and his mighty void ship to avert a disaster. Alright. I am going to ask him more questions, chat, but we are short on time. So for now, Achilles bows. According to the message I received a few minutes ago, Governor Drivestem has arrived at court. I imagine that the Chancellor is already prepared to arrange the meeting. All that's left is to notify her you're ready to see Urband. Alright. So, going to save the game here, and we will continue with talking to the nobility in the next session.